Hello Sagittarius, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll be looking at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section is looking at what is the deeper purpose of this connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. On that note, the whole reading can be reversed if that is the case for you, especially if you're a cross watcher. Just know that's totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Sagittarius, let's jump on in. We're going to start with the overall theme, overall energy of your energy, their energy, and the energy in between it is with oracle cards. That makes sense. We're going to look at overall energy with oracle cards first, and then we're going to dive into tarot a little later in the reading. All right. Overall theme, or overall energy with Sagittarius is side of this connection. Keep saying overall theme, which is this deck. So I'm wondering if there's something in there that's really important. But anyway, overall energy. Sagittarius' side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. You have soulmate recognition. This is one of those connections that felt, oh, then you have separation. Oh my goodness, okay. With growth on the bottom. So this is one of those connections that felt maybe almost instant. Just like recognizing this person on a soul level, soulmate recognition, almost like feeling like you had known them before, or you've, had met them before, even if you guys had just met. And I feel like it's like one of those connections that kind of surpasses the material world. However, it looks like with the separation card that things eventually led to some sort of separation. So things didn't work out. You and this person are currently separated from each other. And I feel like this reading is about kind of understanding what is going on below the surface. So I'm sure we'll have a lot to dive into today. So let's look at this person's overall energy. This person's energy towards Sagittarius. This person's energy towards Sagittarius, please. Solitude. Codependency. And trapped. Oof. Okay. This person struggles with some unhealthy habits, some unhealthy patterns. And it's interesting because I don't know why I kept pulling. Maybe that's important. You have patience and unfinished business. I feel like it like this person's unhealthy patterns, unhealthy behaviors ends up getting them in trouble. Because with the solitude card, it feels like they always kind of find themselves in a position of feeling very alone, yet trapped in this feeling very alone, even though there's a way out, like kind of trapped in a prison of their own making here. And I'm not necessarily sure like what happened in terms of this connection, but I do very much feel that maybe the reason that there's separation or the reason that things got to the place that they did is because like this codependency to me just kind of represents unhealthy dynamics. Again, unhealthy patterns, unhealthy behaviors in relationships. And maybe we'll kind of dive into like literally what codependency means and how it's affecting them in this reading. But I feel like right now it's just kind of alluding to, because again, this is just overall energy, alluding to kind of unhealthy dynamics. And it's like they feel trapped in this space because I do feel like there's this desire for more, yet for some reason there's this sabotage, this sabotaging the love that they deeply desire. And I feel like that happened in this connection. Now, this patience and unfinished business card, I feel like kind of feels to them like things in this connection are unfinished. And I feel like you kind of have that feeling too. But I also feel at the same time that there had been some sort of a cycle that had been repeating for so long that like it almost felt like there was no solution in some way. But I don't know. I don't necessarily know what led to this, like I said, and I feel like maybe we'll become more and more clear on that. I'm really interested to pull this because, like I said, I kept saying overall theme, and that's what this deck is. But I don't know. I feel like like I said, we're going to probably get pretty deep in this reading. So truth of this connection here between you, Sagittarius, and the person you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. Contract. So soul contract. So with boundaries. That's so interesting. So the energy like that I see is like you and this person are heavily drawn toward each other, but there's like this giant wall in between the two energies. And it's like this like I said, huge attraction, but almost like this giant blockage that's keeping the two of you from being able to like come together in like a healthy, sustainable way. So it's interesting because I feel like you and this person definitely supposed to meet. I feel like there's definitely a purpose to this, especially when I see the contract card. Now, this could literally be marriage, like separation or going through a divorce or something like that. A business partner situation. Like it doesn't always have to be romantic, though I do tend to talk about it in a romantic sense. So, but you know, just a reminder to take it as it resonates. But what I'm kind of seeing in between this is that you and this person kind of agreed to meet each other in this lifetime for a deeper purpose, to learn, to grow, to heal, to evolve in some way. So I don't know what that wall is. It's like this drawn to each other, but just like being separated by this wall, like not being able to meet the other on the other side. So obviously, this is, there's probably something. It's probably way more complicated than cards can really bring forth, but there's obviously something that is blocking this or keeping you two apart or something. So this is what I'm curious about. Overall theme of this reading for Sagittarius. So what does Sagittarius need to know about this connection? What does that mean? So you have it's all an act, but I feel like I'm missing part of the message here. Detour. All an act, detour. I was disillusioned. Okay. So it kind of feels like in the beginning of this connection, like I said, the soulmate recognition, right? Like this person, it feels like seemed or really felt like this dream come true. And I feel like you saw them in a certain light and in a certain way. And maybe you weren't as aware, kind of like their unhealthy patterns, their unhealthy behaviors here, and almost like a lot of that was hidden with the It's All an Act card. Like they showed up in a way that hid a lot of those kind of deeper issues, which I feel like caused you to really see them for their potential. Because, I mean, and that kind of happens in the beginning of connections, right? Like everyone's on their best behavior, everyone's kind of showing up in a way that, you know, they feel they need to in order to be accepted, to be loved. But then things took a turn with the disillusioned card. It's like this illusion was shattered. Things kind of crumbled. And I feel like now there's this, well, can we get back on track? Like, how can we get back to how things were? But it just feels like I said, there's this wall here that's keeping things from being able to get to that point. So I feel like the most important, like why I feel like this energy was so important was this disillusion card. Almost like seeing things through like a clear lens instead of, you know, I think a lot of times we see people who through the lens of like who we want them to be or who we hope that they are, or like through their potential, and then eventually like who they really are starts to come out. And that's when we really learn like, okay, is this the person for me, or is this a relationship I want to be in? But it can feel hard when you feel so driven to them on like a soul level. So it's complicated because it's like there's that potential there that you see and that you feel, but like where they're at isn't capable of like being that potential. It's almost like they're which is normal, but like they're like 5D self and 3D self isn't really aligned. So like you're really attracted to that like potential, that version of them that you know that they can be. But it feels like where they're actually at, because there's so much, that wall, right? There's like unhealthy patterns, unhealthy behaviors that are like really blocking them from being able to show up in that way. So what the hell does that mean? Like, right? Like, why? Okay, let's just keep going here. We're going to look, Sagittarius, at your side of this connection to the person you are dealing with, or needing to learn the most from right now. This is Sagittarius' energy toward this person. Queen of Cups in reverse. Oh my goodness. Okay. I feel like this connection affects you like way more than, whoa, okay. Knight of Pentacles in reverse, 9 of Cups, 6 of Swords, Queen of Cups in reverse. It like has a really deep effect on your emotions. Almost like, because there's such a strong underlying connection, it's almost like every time you see that disconnect between like who you know they can be and who they really are, it affects you on a really emotional level, because I feel like you see that potential and you're like, wow, this really could be so incredible if they would just heal, grow, evolve, change, stop doing these things, whatever the case is. And it's hard for you because I feel like you've attached a lot of your like idea of your ability to receive the love that you deserve and desire, to have the love that you've been looking for, to their changing or their growth or their evolution in some way. And so it keeps you feeling really stuck because you're like, I don't want to give up the hope because I don't want to give up what this could be, right? That idea of who this person can be, that potential that you see in them. Because I do feel like this person, especially with the 9 of Cups here, like has a lot of those qualities that you're looking for. But then there's something that's keeping them separated, keeping them at a different distance, and that's keeping you stuck. Because it's almost like, because with the 8 of Pentacles, like I feel like you've put a lot into this, and maybe you've even done some work on yourself, and you've been willing to take accountability for your role, and you're really trying, from what I can tell, to show up in the way that you, in the best way that you can. Now, does that mean you've been perfect and you've done nothing wrong? No, of course not. We all make mistakes and we all play a role. But I do definitely feel like you've been putting a lot of energy and effort into trying to make this work. And it just feels like no matter how hard you try, there's like with the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, it's like there's no forward movement. Things just feel very stagnant. It feels like there's, you know, maybe a repetitive cycle, or you're never able to get to that next level of commitment, or, you know, you're never able to get to that place that you know that you and this person could get to if, you know, enter here. They changed, they grew, they healed, they evolved, they stopped doing the things that they're doing, whatever the case is. So I feel like you're kind of stuck in this place where you're like, well, I know we have a connection. I feel it. Like, I know they care about me. I know they love me, but I can't get past, or I can't just allow things to keep going the way that they are. And that's a hard place to be. I feel like it has you really emotional, as it would anybody, because, you know, especially if you see that potential and you see an opportunity for that potential, like, that's going to get you, it's going to be really disappointing when that potential doesn't get met. It doesn't mean that that potential isn't possible, though. It's the biggest thing for you to know. Like, you can still have that love. I just feel like there's something that this connection is trying to, I don't know. There's a purpose for it. There definitely is a purpose for it. And I feel like this has been really painful for a lot of different reasons. I feel like there's both that, like, reason, wow, okay, that's a lot coming through. I feel like it's both the reason of, like, disappointment that things aren't working, but also almost like feeling that because things didn't work, that things are never going to be as good as they could have been if they did work out, which is really hard. But that's not true. You're always capable of having the love that you deserve. Always, always, always. It exists. But I don't know. I mean, this is definitely, I mean, tough doesn't even feel like that really cuts it. Because I don't know, like, necessarily what happened here. But it is obvious that with the separation card that things they're definitely not where you want it to be. Now, whether you and this person are, like, in an actual physical separation or, like, there's emotional distance here. Like, things just aren't the way that they were before. But it's hard because you're still so drawn to them on, like, a soul level. Let me see if there's anything else. Is there anything else Sagittarius needs to see about their energy toward this person? The Tower. Yeah, so there's the Tower. The Knight of Swords in reverse. I mean, the Knight of Swords in reverse to me, especially kind of seeing it paired with the Tower and, like, coming from this Eight of Pentacles energy that we just talked about, it feels like you poured a lot into this. A lot. Like, almost maybe all that you had to give, and then things eventually kind of fell apart. So that's really hard, right? Because you've invested so much of yourself into something that ended up not working, and that's going to make you start to feel like what you had to give isn't enough, or whatever the case, you know, however this person treated you, like, being able, like, feeling like the things that they've done is a reflection of your value, which it's not. I feel like we need to move forward to this person's energy, because I'm kind of feel like I'm seeing your reaction to their behavior, but I don't completely understand their behavior yet. It's like I'm seeing the state that you're in and, like, how you're feeling and, you know, your side of things here, but I'm not understanding exactly what it is that you're dealing with, which is making it kind of hard to present these messages. But let's see. This person's energy toward you, Sagittarius. Codependency with solitude. Person's energy towards Sagittarius, please. The Ten of Wands. Oof, yeah, okay. The Death, the Sun in reverse, the Eight of Wands. It feels like the way that things unfolded, like, it happened really fast. Maybe the whole thing was really fast. Like, you fell for each other really fast. Like, the connection was instant. And then also the fallout or, like, the separation happened really fast. It feels like it kind of, like especially if this person did something, like, it happened. It was almost a little bit, like, blindsiding. It, like, blindsided you. Okay. Yeah, it's a lot to unpack. Okay. So, this person, first of all, in general, doesn't seem like they're in the best place. It kind of feels like outside of this connection, they've kind of got a lot going on in their life that is already kind of affecting them, again, outside of this connection. Because with this Ten of Wands, it feels like they're carrying a lot, and it feels like they've been carrying a lot. So I do feel like this person has a lot of things, maybe also from their past, that they're really bringing into this connection and projecting. Like, it just kind of feels like there's a lack of, and I know I talk about this a lot, but like a lack of healing, or like facing the things that need to be faced here. Because it, again, I started this reading when I looked in their energy with saying that they're like, they desire more than what their behavior represents. It's almost like they have this craving for the love that exists in this connection, yet the way that they show up, like the unhealthy patterns, the unhealthy behavior, the self-sabotage, it feels like it goes directly against what it is that they ultimately desire, which is interesting, right? When you start to think about the potential you see in them, because the potential you see in them is a direct reflection of the potential that they desire, both in the connection and within themselves, yet their behavior and where they're currently at is not a reflection of that potential or that desire. And that's a lack, like I said, of the healing. It's almost like they're in this place where their ego is really at the forefront of the decision making. And our ego is not to be demonized. We all have one, and its primary goal is to keep us alive. Though sometimes it can do that in ways that aren't necessarily good for us, because our ego is always going to keep us in places that it knows it can survive. It's going to keep us in relationship dynamics and in financial situations and in just in general, like places that we're used to, situations that we're used to, because your ego has survived those situations. It knows how to handle it. It knows what they feel like. They're predictable. So if this person is craving something that they've never experienced, the love that they desire, or unconditional love, or what you have to give, you have to provide them, it's going to feel very uncomfortable for them, because it's outside the realm of what they're used to. It's outside of their comfort zone. And for people who haven't done the growth and the emotional development to be able to recognize when their triggers aren't a reflection of a truth, but of something within them that needs to be addressed, they're going to react. And they're going to react in a way that is going to try to get them back to a place of comfortability. So if somebody is used to experiencing the lack of love that they desire, they're going to do whatever their ego feels that they need to do to get them back in that place of lack of love, even though below the surface, they actually desire and crave more. And here's where I feel like it gets hard, is I feel like you can see through that. So I feel like you see that they desire that love. You see that potential that they have to be able to show up for that love. Yet where they're at and what they're showing up as is a complete opposite of that, right? There's the self-sabotage, the unhealthy patterns, the unhealthy behavior, but that empathy that you have for them, I feel like keeps you stuck in this energy of consistently investing. You're trying to bring out the best in them, because you do see that best in them. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It is a wonderful thing to see the best in others. But I feel like it's gotten to this point, especially with this Empress in reverse, where you are or have for a really long time not been treated well. I don't feel like you're getting what it is that you, not only are you not getting what you deserve, but I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like you're getting not treated the way that you deserve to be treated. And I think it's really hard because you see that disconnect, right? So that wall that's in between this person, you and this person, that I keep seeing, it's like this very, very vivid visualization, is this person's baggage, this person's, that they've built this wall to keep people out because it is what makes them feel comfortable. They are more comfortable in solitude, even though that's not actually what they desire. And one of the biggest things I talk about on this channel is that 95% of our decisions, of the way that we interact with our reality, is subconscious, meaning they might not be even aware that this is happening. And for people who don't want to face the things within themselves, who don't want to face their wounding, who don't want to face their trauma, who don't want to face their insecurities, they're going to do whatever they can to avoid having to face those things. And relationships require intimacy. It requires us to be completely open about these parts of ourselves. But if we can't be open about those parts of ourselves with ourselves, we can't share that with another human being. We're going to be closed off emotionally and mentally and physically, and we're going to push people away. And I feel like that's what has happened with this person, and it's made it really difficult for you because, again, you recognize them on that soul level. Now, the other thing that I want to mention is whether you believe this person is a twin mate or a twin flame or a soulmate or your person or whatever the case is, first and foremost, be so careful with labeling, because it can attach us to an idea of a person instead of who somebody really is. And second of all, know that there is not one person out there that holds the key to our happiness. And I think that a lot of times we give that power away and we say, if this person doesn't heal, if they don't change, if they don't grow, if they don't evolve, if they don't get their shit together, I'm never going to be loved in the way that I deserve. And that is absolutely not true. You hold the key, you hold that power. And I feel like we'll probably talk a lot about that when we do hop over to the extended. But I do feel like in this connection right now, what you're needing to know is that disconnect, it's not about you not being valuable or you not being good enough or what you have to give not being valuable or good enough. It has to do with where this person is at. And the best thing I've ever learned in this life is to not take other people's capacity to love personally, because it is not a reflection of us. It's a reflection of their level of consciousness and their emotional depth. And that is their journey, and there is nothing we can do to control that journey. The only thing that we can do is to make sure that we are valuing ourselves enough to know that other people's lack of valuing us or treating us well is not a reflection of us, but a reflection of them. And then we can then make decisions that align with our value instead of trying to get somebody else to value us, which is a lot of times where we lose ourselves in connections that to where we're trying to save somebody else or fix somebody else or change somebody else, which can often lead to heartbreak. So whatever this person did, whatever switch flipped, whatever, whether it's like they just switched up on you, right? It doesn't have anything to do with you, and I don't feel like there's anything you could have done to avoid it. I feel like this connection pushes this person out of their comfort zone, and they're doing what they can to regain whatever makes them feel comfortable, which is pushing people away, creating that distance, sabotaging, even though that's not what they desire. And again, I feel like that's what you're kind of picking up on, is there's a deeper desire, there's love there. But it's like there's this disconnect between where they're at and that higher version of themselves, that potential. So, I think that's where we have to learn to really take people where they're at and really understand that people can only meet us where they're at. One of my favorite kind of, I think it's called a theory. It's Mel Robbins. It's called the let them theory. And it's about letting people be who they are, letting people be where they're at, letting people do what they're going to do, and then making your decision based on where they're at, not right now, not where you hope they will be one day. And I think that that's what's really hard, is we feel like we're giving up on some sort of like potential, or that we're going to miss out on what something could be, but we're never missing out on what could be if we are making a decision that protects us emotionally and stands up for what we are truly deserving of. In fact, we're not missing out on anything. We're actually aligning further with what it is that we're ultimately looking for. So I definitely feel like this connection is pushing you out of your comfort zone in a lot of ways too. It's really pushing you to see your value and to see your worth and to prioritize yourself over somebody else, making sure you're not putting somebody else on a pedestal, but that you're loving yourself just as much as you love somebody else, which is very, very important for healthy, sustainable relationships. But I know that it's not so easy when you're dealing with someone that you have that deeper connection with. So obviously, I hope that this helped you in some way, Sagittarius. We're going to hop on over to the extended. We have contract with boundaries. We're going to dive deeper into it, looking at the deeper purpose and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Thank you guys so much, as always, for your support of my channel. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Sagittarius.